Hello and welcome to the Innovation Talks Theater. My name is Toby and I have the pleasure of being your host today. It's really good to see that everybody's made it here to Cisco Live 2020. There's a lot of us, but together we're building the bridge to get you to where you want to be so you can make anything possible. Now, Cisco Live, you're going to learn new things, be inspired, and create a path to endless opportunities. This week, we're having 14 innovation talks here in this theater where we will not only share with you our latest solutions, but also our innovations and best practices. To keep pace with the complexity of rapidly transforming industries, infrastructure engineers and application developers must creatively evolve to continue to drive companies through digital transformation, ushering them to embrace a new way of doing networking. We are excited now to bring up on stage a familiar face, but with a brand new title and growing team. Susie Wee, SVP GM of the DevNet and CX Ecosystem Success Team, as well as several featured guests, to share with you how the new network is accelerating digital transformation. Please help me give a warm welcome to Susie.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So today what I want to talk to you about is how we can accelerate your success with the new network. And if we take a look, this all starts with what our customers are asking us for. Some of you are customers. What you're asking our partners in Cisco for. They used to come to us for networking and connectivity, and of course that still happens. But as people's businesses have grown and their networks have grown, then what happens is our customers started asking us different questions. They started to ask us, can you help me automate my infrastructure? Automate, automate, automate. And can you help me use my infrastructure to solve business problems? And that's an interesting concept. So the question is now, what we have are a technology transformation underway that makes everybody want and need automation. And then there's a business transformation, and this really impacts the role of IT and infrastructure because the infrastructure can be used to solve and drive and grow business. So if we take a look at what makes this possible, it's because the new network has entirely new capabilities. The way that we built networks 5, 10, 15 years ago is different from what we can do today because now the network has new capabilities. It has intent-based networking, multi-domain networking. It's programmable. It has APIs, which supports DevOps workflows and automation. And then application areas like IoT and edge computing and cognitive collaboration come underway. And technologies like AI and machine learning and security start to get built into the network and not done separately or on top. So when you put all of these together, you have an entirely new set of capabilities that you can use to literally drive new business opportunities and business growth for your company and to drive great customer experiences for your customers. Now, first, let's talk about a few technology trends, and we'll call these the ABC tech trends for 2020 and beyond. And as we take a look, the first one, A, is about using automation plus AI to empower people. We hear about automation a lot, and that makes some people worry. Like, if you have a lot of automation and AI, does that mean that I don't have a job anymore? What does that mean? So let's break that down a little bit more. Automation can mean a few different things. It can be making some operations autonomous to where you don't need a person, where things can be done by themselves. But also, automation and AI are very much about these next two categories. So one is that it's about assisting humans to do things at scale. So you could roll out configuration changes, and sometimes we get errors, and it's manual, and it takes a long time. So automation can be used to help assist humans to accomplish these kinds of tasks. But in addition, automation and AI can be used to augment humans, to augment capabilities that you couldn't do manually. So for example, if you take a look at Cisco's threat intelligence portfolio with security, is we can be actually measuring threats and collecting threats through Cisco's collectors across the world. So we know threats are going to happen, and then protect your business from those threats before they get there because we've seen it in other parts of the world. So that's a place where you're augmenting a human capability by using automation and AI. So the other thing is that we feel like automation will things more machine-like or dehumanize. But we work with customers like Starbucks, and the way they view it is that companies will personalize customer experiences using AI because you'll know more about your customers. And AI will actually enhance human connections, not take them away. So what this allows us to do is accelerate business with the infrastructure and do things like automation at scale, gain insights and intelligence from the infrastructure to drive business and customer experiences, and drive business outcomes. So next is B. Let's take a look at next, is driving business success with cross-layer innovation. So cross-layer innovation, let's look at cross-layer technology innovation. Before you could innovate by taking a look at each area and driving it forward as fast as it could. But in this next generation, a lot of the opportunities are basically looking across these layers. Not looking at connectivity, data, and devices separately, but how do you look at them together to create the experiences you need next? Networking and security, instead of looking at them separately, how do you innovate with networking and security together? Applications and infrastructure, typically done separately, but now the innovations come from driving infrastructure and application performance together. And putting together business, technology, and the user experience. Because the technology can enable new experiences that can drive entirely new business models and allow companies to compete. And if we take a look at this, then what happens is, in the old model, the infrastructure, the IT teams would provide the infrastructure to provide the best connectivity and compute they could. The application teams would write the applications and hope they run on that infrastructure, and then the business teams would go off and develop their business models. But now that the infrastructure is programmable, then what that does is allow modern applications and cloud applications to use that infrastructure. And now that the network is programmable, you can do net DevOps type models as well and include the network in that cycle. And what that allows is entirely new experiences to come together to drive business. When you think about knowing if somebody walks into the store and connects into the infrastructure and giving them the best experience that you can. And so let's take a look at this where you take that programmable infrastructure and you start solving people's business problems, like how can I make my workers give a better experience to my customers? How can I connect up my stores and branches? And as an example, we have a customer here in Europe, Intesa Sanpaolo, a bank, a global bank that serves many customers, and they're a 500-year-old bank. And 500 years old is a long time. Now, they have customers who like to walk to the bank every day to do their banking. And they need to respect and treat those customers. And then they have new customers who are only going to do their banking through their mobile phones. And they need to help those customers as well. So, as they put it together, what they did was they brought together their IT teams. They brought together their business head of bank branch offices. They brought together their customer support. They used APIs into our technology to then use the infrastructure to solve business problems and do this by having these teams work together. So that's a 500-year-old bank modernizing their experience to best serve their customers. The final trend I want to talk about is called community-led innovation for ecosystem success. So what we know about is if you think about community innovation, well, think about software. So we know in software there's models of code sharing, using tools like GitHub, and people collaborating to create software tools that can solve bigger problems together. Even the area of AI has become more democratized and it has community-led innovation. Because what you see across the ecosystem is a device company can optimize AI algorithms in the chips. And meanwhile, data scientists can develop the greatest AI algorithms. And then a developer who's writing a web application can use 3 lines of JavaScript to embed an awesome AI or people counting or object detection algorithm into their code. So you don't have to be a data scientist now to innovate in AI. So that's community-led innovation in AI. And the great thing is that networking, because now it's based on software, is going to this model as well. And what we have is DevNet Automation Exchange, which is a tool that we have of curated software that's created by our community of network experts, CCIEs, software developers, infrastructure developers, app developers doing software infrastructure. So they are coming together to create best practices and create code that actually solves the automation and the network use cases that people want. So it's one thing for Cisco to have a bunch of products that you can use and that are programmable, but now what's amazing is the innovation that will happen is we're writing code to solve different use cases on top of that. And we're helping people walk, run, and fly with networking and solve these use cases that help you get visibility and insights, go ahead and then push security policies, and then evolve to be able to use the full DevOps workflow for optimization. And so as we build up this repository, that's really bringing innovation in a community way to networking. And now what we want to do is, that's great talking about the trends, but let's see it. And with DevNet, we have a see it, learn it, code it approach. And I would like to invite up Mandy Whaley and Ashutosh Malagankar to show some innovations that we have in making it real.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Hey, Mandy.
So the new network helps us create new experiences and deliver new outcomes. And that's what Ashutosh and I want to share in this see it, learn it, code it section. We want to start with a fairly common situation. A major retailer has stores across Europe. Let's say they're looking at bringing up a new store in Berlin. They also have their data center in Frankfurt. Now we're going to look at bringing up this new store, and we know that we want to do it in a repeatable way because we plan to do this very often, and we want to do it as efficient and quickly as possible. But there's some requirements that we need to cover. We need that connection from store to the data center. We want to be able to quickly deploy the local network at the store with a very standardized wireless configuration. And then also at the store, we're going to have local applications running. And we need to be able to configure the policy for those applications so they can use the data center services. And most importantly, we want to do this reliably, repeatably, and in a way that is scalable. We want every store to be configured in the exact same way. We want to send the minimum of people on site to do that store stand-up. And we want to be able to get it up and connected and running as quickly as possible. And that leads us to automation. So I'm happy to share with you this multi-domain automation demo. Let's take a look at the products that we're going to use to make this happen. To connect the store and the data center, we'll use Cisco SD-WAN. We're going to be using ACI to configure the policy for those applications that are running in the store. And we'll use DNA Center to help with the standardized configuration of the wireless network, and also to help manage and deploy the local network. And then we'll be using UCS for the applications that are running in the data center and the store. And at the end, what we want is a connected store up and running all of the applications and servers that it needs. So let's take a look at how we can do this. We're going to use a couple of additional tools. One of those is called Action Orchestrator, which is a workflow tool. We'll also be using GitHub for our single source of truth, and also WebEx Teams to communicate between the two teams that are involved in this stand-up. And most importantly, we're trying to eliminate copy and paste. No copy and paste from Excel. No copy and paste from Notepad. Don't copy and paste your configs around or your IP addresses. So we're working to move from that single source of truth and do everything in an automated fashion. So we'll switch over to the demo and take a look. All right, so this is Cisco Action Orchestrator. It's a workflow tool where you can build up steps that call APIs, that call custom Python scripts that you've written, that can call pretty much anything you can containerize and plug in. We're going to start this off running. All I need to give it is a name of our store. So I'm going to call it DevNet Zone Berlin, since we're bringing up that Berlin store. And we're going to start it off running. And you'll see that it starts running. Some of the steps turn green. Those have been completed. The blue one is the one that we're actively on. And we also have this WebEx Teams room connected to it. So as steps are completing, we're getting alerts in our WebEx team room. This Teams can see how it's advancing. And we're also getting back configuration information about how those different services are being configured. So we're going to let that run, and we're going to go back to the slides, and I want to talk about some of the APIs that we're actually calling in those workflow steps. So we can go back to the slides. So to connect the SD-WAN connectivity, we're going to be using the vManage APIs. We'll use an API call to get a list of devices, And then we're also using templates. Templates let you create a template that has specified ports, protocols, define it, and then attach it to multiple devices. So we'll create a template for our store, and we'll be able to assign that to all of the routers at our store. For DNA Center, we're going to use the Enterprise SSID. This is one of the new intent APIs. And on this one, we pass in some configuration information. One of those would be our store name, which could be used as the SSID name. Things like security level, the passphrase we want to use, if we're enabling fast lane and different features like that. And this will start off the workflow to stand up this SSID. And then for ACI and UCS, for UCS, we're going to use the Python SDK. And we're creating VLANs, and then also creating that new tenant in ACI using the ACI SDK as well. And then after those are created, we actually need to get the connectivity going by updating the VNet templates, and then setting up the application profiles and endpoint groups using, again, the ACI SDK. All right, so we're going to check back in on our workflow and see if we've completed. And we have. We've got success. That's always exciting to see in a live demo. And you can also see in our WebEx Teams room that we've had everything has finished deploying, and we've got a message with, here's our server, it's ready to be used. I did want to dive into one example deeper in the workflow. We'll take a look at the DNA Center. So this is the child workflow that's creating that. And I want to look at one specific API call. This is the API call that calls the intent API to stand up the SSID. And you can see, here's the configuration data that we passed in. Here's our new store name that we put in the demo. So everything ran, everything's configured. And now we're ready to start doing interesting things at our store. So we'll go back to the slides. So with this workflow automation, we've got a standard, repeatable, and also self-documenting way to stand up these new stores. We can send very minimum number of people to the store to do the stand-up, and they can work easily through WebEx Teams with the people back at headquarters. We've accomplished our 3 goals. We've got our store connected and compute ready. And now Ashutosh would like to share with you some of the kinds of applications you can then run at the store.
Thank you, Mandy. So if we can switch to the camera. So how cool is this, right? I mean, this is a live WebEx meeting going on right now. And I am wearing a Google Glass. What this is showing is the type of applications that we can actually see in the application space in a store or in the retail space. So Mandy, like if you can just wave, like, you know, if you're standing there, like, so this is an actual call, right? So this is an actual meeting that's going on, and you could be talking to an expert remotely. Now, the things that we have done in this is, if you can switch to the slides back, is like, you know, we've started seeing a lot of augmented reality or hands-free applications in the IoT space. But what we also see is that retail or healthcare is also asking for use cases, especially in healthcare where doctors are doing operations in the OT, and they want to actually see what's happening while the operation is going on. So these are some of the use cases where hands-free is needed. Now, I lead a group called Co-Creations in DevNet, and we get to work with our partners and strategic partners like Google. And one of the projects that we are working on is the Google Glass project, where we have integrated the WebEx Teams into the Google Glass. So what this helps is, it really helps the IT engineers, or it could be customers, it could be the store manager. But in this case, like Mandy talked about a store being brought up. Now, on the floor, you could actually have some issues. So let's say that I'm an IT engineer, I wear this glass, and I'm able to actually show the problem to the expert who is back in the office. So like the way this thing works is that there is a registration process. For this, what we've done is we've used the WebEx Teams APIs as well as the security APIs. And the reason the security API is needed is because to make sure that this glass that I'm wearing is actually me. So I'll get a duo multi-factor authentication coming to me, I say yes, and then the glass is mine. So that's the registration process. And the second one is the actual making of a call. So in this case, what I'll do is, if you can switch back into the video. So here, like, I'm just showing you, like, if I first tap, it starts setting up the device. And like, you bring up a QR code, and at that point, it will start registering the device. And here, it will say that the registration is successful. The glass is under my name now. And then it will say, like, scan a QR code. Now, think about it that if you're in a data center, you could have a serial number, and you can actually look at that serial number and know which expert to call immediately. So in this case, like, we actually made a call. After the call is made, what you can do is, this is a remote expert who's looking at it. What they can do is also share content back into the glass. So sitting here, if they share a diagram, like in this case, I'm going to show a diagram that shows up. The remote expert is actually showing me a diagram, and they're telling me, like, OK, this is the problem that you need to fix, or change the cable from here to here. So this is the kind of application that you can start working on. So in conclusion, if you can actually switch back to the slides. So in conclusion, right, I mean, one of the things that we are seeing is there's a hands-free experience that we want our customers to start having. The WebEx Teams integration and the Duo integration are pretty key for these kind of applications. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mandy and Ashutosh. So as you can see, what we're doing is making this technology real and bringing it to life, and there's tremendous opportunities ahead. Now, in addition to the technology trends that we talked about earlier, I wanted to talk about some workforce trends, because at the end of the day, this is about you and your careers. And what's interesting is this transformation that's going to the increased power in the technologist. So again, there's automation, but it's really about the expertise that becomes important. And because technology can drive so much business, that combination is important. The second is that CIOs are going to be looking to developers and technologists to let them know what are those latest tech trends that I can use to provide value to my business. And also, developers and technologists will have greater influence in buying decisions and business decisions. So we want all of you to be prepared to step up into that role. And I want to talk about some career success that we've had from our community. So first, Andra Elhart, who's at Dimension Data and NTT. And basically, in 2014, she jumped in and earned her CCNA and CCNP. And then she jumped into DevNet and attended a Cisco DevNet Express in Berlin. She attended a Cisco Live, started presenting her demos there. She organized a DevNet Express partner event, and then went on to become a DevNet creator, and has gone on to build practices and actually train people in her company about DevNet and automation. And throughout her career, she's grown to actually rise and train others on automation practices, and now help the entire workforce transform across Europe. Let's also take a look at Matthias Prokop from Natilik. And he's been involved in Cisco Networking Academy and first started touching Cisco there, and then earned his CCNP and earned his CCDP, and then became a Cisco partner and hosted a Cisco partner DevNet Express event with their customers, and presented at Cisco Live, and became a Cisco champion. So through this, he's worked in many companies, and now is at Natilik and is driving their practices as they bring automation into their business practices for their customers. I want to welcome stand-up Matthias right here in the audience. Andra, yes? Excellent. And it shows you how what we really care about is your expertise as you're building up these capabilities. And we're hoping that as we help you with your career success, that you also become our customers for life, especially in this field where technical expertise matters, and we're committed to helping you succeed. And if we take a look at this, then again, it all comes to how we can help you build your capabilities for the new network so you can be successful in the years ahead. As you know, in DevNet, we've provided lots of resources for you through the community, most importantly, and ways for sharing code, for having learning labs, and getting hands-on with different APIs. And also what we're doing is really looking at this transformation that brings together the world of infrastructure engineers with the world of software developers. And those of you who are here at the early stages of that transition are going to be leaders in this new and emerging area. And if we take a look at how you build your IT team or your technology team of the future, what we find is that you need that combination of infrastructure engineers and software developers, or more specifically, a combination of infrastructure skills and expertise and software skills and expertise. And with that, we have new certifications. We have a new CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, and CC Specialist certifications. And in addition, we've launched entirely new Cisco DevNet certifications to certify your software capabilities. And if you take a look, we have 10 new DevNet certifications that are DevNet Associate, DevNet Professional, plus 8 technology concentrations to really get you going and be able to work in new ways. And what this does is provide you for entirely new job roles, like network automation developer. This was not a role that existed in the past, but it's a role that exists now because of the capabilities of the new network. So you could earn your DevNet Professional and then combine it with a Cisco Specialist in Enterprise Core, a DevNet Specialist in Enterprise Automation, and in DevOps. A powerful set of capabilities to make you a network automation developer. Another role is the web scale engineer. The web scale engineer, now that you have entirely new levels of networking in your business, not only for web companies, but for any company that has a web scale infrastructure. So you'd combine that DevNet Professional with data center automation and programmability, with ACI engineering expertise and DevOps. And this starts to get to be a very powerful combination of skills for a new role that's emerging. We've also announced for partners a new DevNet specialization to recognize the partners who have built up the capabilities to offer DevNet-type solutions to their customers. Because customers have asked, which are the partners that can give me the new network and all the promise that's provided by all these new capabilities? And the DevNet specialization will provide that differentiation for those partners. And with these new certifications, the new certifications are available for people on February 24th, 2020. February 24th. And in order to help you prepare, we have 61 new training courses that are supporting the new certifications. These are available, some available in January, the rest are coming in February, and this is how you can get started now to learn about these new capabilities to take you into the future. And also, if you wanted to learn more about the DevNet certifications, you can go to developer.cisco.com/certification and look at the exam topics. And alongside on the right side are the free DevNet learning labs that can go alongside and help teach you some of those skills. So that's a great resource to get you started today. And in addition, we have some new DevNet tools for you to use, which is there's a new DevNet Fundamentals training course that'll be released in February 2020, next month. And what this does is give you a next-generation learning experience where you have an interactive coding experience and coding environment so that you can practice as you go. And it connects into a built-in integrated lab. So you can get hands-on with the APIs and the technology as you learn. Now, also what we heard is that people have started investing in study groups. So they've started study groups to start studying for these new technologies and to start studying for the certifications, and they've done it on their own. So we've listened to them, and then we've created a new DevNet study group platform to allow an online community platform for a study group leader who wants to come in and go through one topic, go through another topic, use our learning labs to study for these certifications. So this is available for alpha users right now if you want to go and take a look. So, and then it'll become available premium offers in February. So go ahead and start that now if you have a study group that you'd like to lead. And then finally, what I'd like to announce is that we want to recognize those of you who are taking this leap into the DevNet certifications, and you're being the leaders in your field. So we are announcing that the first 500 people who earn any DevNet certification will be recognized as the DevNet 500. And so what you have the opportunity to do is to be the first ones to receive that DevNet certification. And we're doing that to recognize you, but also to help you and to partner with you as you become leaders in the next chapter of your careers and as you lead the power of the infrastructure in driving new businesses. So I want to once again thank you for the investment that you've made in Cisco and let you know that we're committed to helping you in your careers and your businesses, and we appreciate all the effort that you've put in and given to us. Thank you.